Hey, what's up guys? Awesome back here. Another video. The previous videos I uploaded, which was this past week, me and my buddy Josh, he has his own YouTube. I think it's J&T Outdoors or it's T&J Outdoors. It's one of the two. I'll put that in my next video, or I'll look it up and put it in my bio. But anyway, me and him went out there on Laurel, fished, and fished. We had two keepers, had one that was close. And I think we caught about 6 or 7 fish that day. He caught one and I caught the rest. I did have some bad luck, but it'd be alright. The Lord's blessing and everything. So I'm just going to pray about it, turn it over to Him, and not worry about it. Number one, I found out the water pump on my dad's boat had went out. So, gotta get a water pump. So I can't go fishing until we do that. Number two, I lost a rod and reel in Laurel Lake. Okay? It was my castaway skeleton rod. I don't even remember the reel that's on it. But I had it sitting on the front of my deck. And big gusts of wind blew, and as a boat came by, the boat started rocking, and end up wind hit it and blew it out. Well, I didn't know it. It started going down in a slant, and Josh said, "Austin, your rod," and I went to dive for it, and I couldn't reach it. I took a spoon and spooned for it. I didn't have a wire stringer, so I couldn't try that. But I did lose my A-rig rod. It's gonna be a minute till I can buy another one because I ain't got $300 just to dish out on a whole nother combo right now. But a A-rig is definitely what you need. So in this video I'm gonna go over what I threw the most, what I caught fish on, what I didn't even throw that's good to have on, and stuff like that. So you all know I don't go anywhere without this rod and reel right here. This is my Daiwa Tatula 1000, 7'6", medium light, Dixie Custom blank rod, Tennessee handle, 4-pound line. This is my swim bait rod, my floating fly rod. So what am I going to throw this time of year? I'm going to throw a small swim bait. I didn't even throw it. I did not even pick up this rod. So that's one I didn't throw. Another one I didn't throw was, well, no, I threw everything else. I threw everything else. One I got one bite on and he got off. I mean, he didn't actually hit it. He just kind of grabbed it, and it was one of them sluggish bites. So I thought I was just coming through moss or on the bottom or something. So I started doing my rod like that, just working my bait, and I felt my line tightening up. So I just went like that, and ended up, I felt his head shake. So I believe it was a smallmouth. I don't think he is very big, but he came on a coppertruce TRD. I did not see the fish. I do know it was a fish because he started running, and then I just felt his head shake, and my bait came out. So yeah. But that was on a Daiwa Aerodeck 7-foot medium. Yeah, medium. It performs like a medium light. I love this rod. $60 spinning rod. Heck yeah. Highly recommend this rod. It slews you. These is very good. They was cheap when they came out, but I like them. But I think that maybe 3 casts, took 1 fish on it. Here's a rod and reel that I was expecting to have in my hand a whole lot, but I made maybe 20 casts with it and put it down. They just wasn't on it for me. My buddy Jacob Turner, he went and he crushed them on a jerkbait and an A-rig. I couldn't get a hit on a jerkbait. I threw this about 20 casts and put it down. This is a 13 Fishing Loco special. Daiwa Tatula 8-to-1 gear ratio. This is the 100 series and a Denali Riker series rod and a 6'6" medium heavy. But that is for sure a medium rod. I should have got a standard medium for my jerkbait rod because it performs just like a medium light would, and I like a lot of tip on my jerkbait. So, another one I didn't throw much was swim bait. A bigger swim bait. This here's just a 3-inch. I tried downsizing, and I'll go over why I done how I did the colors and stuff like that after I go over all the rods and reels. But I had my 1/8 ounce head on here, 15-pound cigar, a Brazex, 13 fishing, Fate Black, 7'1" medium heavy, and a Daiwa Tatula SV, the new one, and an 8-to-1 gear ratio. This little swim bait on here I got sent to me, and it was a Weston. I tried them. They look good, but I just couldn't catch nothing on it. I did throw this quite a bit. Well, I say I didn't throw it, but now I did. And I just remembered I did. I did throw it maybe 20 casts, if that. They just wasn't on it. I was wanting to cover water and fish fast, and you can't do it with this light stuff. So that's the only reason why I didn't fish it more. Another one that I did throw a lot. I mean, I started off with this. This is the first rod and reel I picked up. And that is this little spinnerbait here. I got it at Walmart last spring. I ain't seen them since. I said if I seen them, I was just going to load up on them, probably get like 40 of them. And that's just because they was $2 or $3 a piece. And they are Gary Yamamoto's, so I knew they was really good. That blade was white with silver. That skirt was white and silver. And I did have a little Kitech electric chartreuse 2.8 on there. That spinnerbait is in a 1/2 ounce. I had it paired with a Abu Garcia Vendetta rod, 6'6", medium heavy, and a Daiwa Tatula 7-to-1 gear ratio. I'm going to set this aside because I had an issue with this. So I'm just going to set it aside to be reviewed again. Now we're going to get into something I didn't even throw. This rod and reel here, well, this reel was on my A-rig rod, and I ran out of line on it because I backlashed it like an idiot. But I took my reel I had on this rod and put on my A-rig rod because I had a line on it and it was the same pound. So I had a Carolina rig on this rod. I knew I wasn't going to throw it, but in case I needed to, I could just fire it out there real quick. I did not even throw a Carolina rig. I should have threw it, but I didn't. So a Carolina rig I would have threw, should have threw, a swim bait I should have threw. But here is one that I kept in my hand most of the day. I kept two rods in my hand majority of the day. I just picked this rod up specifically for this trip to Laurel because I knew I needed to crank. I hate cranking. I got advice from 2 different people. I'm just like, hey, I'm not wanting to spend $200 or $300 on a rod. I really like these Denali rods, these Riker rods. And I got their advice if it would work for a crankbait. The action, the tip, and stuff. One of them, he wins majority of his tournaments on a crankbait. And he told me it'd be perfect for the crankbaits I was wanting to throw, like a Spro Rock Crawler or a KVD 1.5 or a 2.5. He said just don't go over 5XD. So I got a Denali Riker rod. This is a 7-foot medium action. So this is my cranking rod. That little cheap reel I had up here, on my dresser. I threw it on here because it's cheap. If I wear it out, so what? Who cares? And it's actually a perfect gear ratio. It's a 6:3 to 1. Let me spit before I spit all over my rod and reel. But this reel is a 6:3 to 1, and it's a Bassmaster. And it's going to blow your mind how I was throwing this. I literally, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 brakes on. That's how windy it was. I had 4 brakes on and I think 2 off. Yeah, 2 off. That's how windy it was out there. But I did catch 2 or 3 fish on this rock crawler. You can't buy that color in stores. I did color it up. I will just show you the top of it, not the rest. You can see it's red and black. But who cares? I mean, if you can go catch fish on it, I don't care. There, it's black, red with a little bit of chartreuse on it. I left the belly like it was, and you can tell they was eating that front hook, so they was wanting it. It wasn't that, it was boom, hitting it head on. So, I did keep that rod in my hand a lot. I had a 14-pound Bass Pro line on here. I did have 80-pound braid that was going to be my frogging reel, but it was just too slow, and yeah, I don't frog fish a lot. Now, the problem, no, not that one. But this way you know I have 2 Denali rocker rods. I'm not just lying to you. Right there they are side by side. Both Denali Rikers. So, $60. I love them rods. One thing I've realized myself doing, getting away from the high priced gear and finding what suits me. But, getting into what I ran into with this reel. My Dival Chatula 7-1-to-1 that I got sent to me from Texas. I traded a guy. But he had monofilament and fluorocarbon. He had a fluorocarbon leader and a monofilament backing. I hate that. Well, I backlashed this reel. I tried to skip up under a dock with spinnerbait, and it didn't really work out so well. So I got my backlash out, and I went and make another cast, and when I did, it cut out. Because that knot, it hang. Well, ended up, I done that. I fished with that about an hour, and I just got so pissed off. I literally sat there in the boat and undone all my line, re-spooled it with 14-pound Bass Pro line on it. I hate that. If you're going to throw mono, throw straight mono unless you are actually needing fluorocarbon. But I hate that. I seriously hate it. It gets on my nerves so much. But anyway, we're going to talk why I picked the colors I did, why I didn't go light lime like I usually do. And that was simply because I was expecting to fish muddy water. Usually I don't throw white or white and chartreuse in muddy water. But I figured that's something different, just like this. That flash in the blade right there, them rips. I dyed them blades myself. I dyed that skirt myself. I have a thing of Spike It garlic. It's in chartreuse. I got me a little baggie, and I dipped my spinnerbait skirt in it and my blades too. So that way is just something different. Maybe roll it by a tree. I knew them bass would be kind of pushed up but kind of off. We put the boat in about 20 and 25 foot of water, but we was stowing up against the bank, or we was paralleling it into 8 and 12 foot of water. So it ain't got there yet, but here one day next week. I mean, we have a cold spell. A cold spell, I think today or tomorrow, but it's going to be right back pretty. Hopefully it rains a lot. That water's going to warm up even quicker. I'm hoping it's windy and it rains where nobody will be out there on that lake. And it's just going to warm it up. Then when people goes out there, they can kill them. Last year, me and Dad, that was the first time we'd been on Laurel. Me and Dad. I'd fished it one time prior to that. I didn't do too good at all. I think I caught 3 fish, none a keeper. But me and Dad, every time we went, we had at least 10 pounds. And that ain't good at all for this time of year. If you're a tournament angler and you ain't bringing in 15 to 22 pounds, you may as well turn all your fish back. I've seen that. I've been in that situation where you just like, yeah, I got 13, maybe 14 pounds. I stand a good chance, and you don't even, like, you are way down. So, that's just how it goes sometimes. But, once again, I should have threw a swim bait and a Carolina rig. That's the only thing I regret not throwing. But, the rod and reels I kept in my hand was this little rod and reel, Spur Rock Crawler, Bassmaster, Denali Rocker rod, 7-foot medium rod, and I kept my Castaway skeleton rod that I had an A-rig on. Now, I don't remember the reel I had on it, but I will tell you how I had my A-rig set up. I lost one A-rig, and then I tied this other on, and I didn't even make a cast with it. I literally laid it on the deck of my boat, and then it went. So I lost a new A-rig, a $130 rod, and another reel. Is either a SLX DC or it was a Quantum PT Energy. Is one of the two. So we'll just call it a $130 reel and all that line I had on it. So. But that's just the way it goes. I do remember how I had it set up, so I'm going to get into that real quick. Alright, so you're looking at your A-rig this way. You're looking at your 5-wire system. Now, the top of your head will have a flat spot. That's how you know it's a top. Well, I had 3 32nd ounce heads I make. I had the herring heads on the top. On the bottom, I had a 1/8 ounce. Yeah, I had 2 1/8 ounce heads on the bottom, herring heads. I had them on there where I could throw a bigger swim bait. On my top two, I had a 2.8 Kitech electric chartreuse. On my bottom two, I had Ghost Shad. It's a KVD swim bait, and they are 4 inches. And then in the center, I had a 3-inch electric chartreuse Kitech on a 1/4 ounce double ring round ball. I did have to replace my top two, my electric chartreuse and stuff, from getting it hung up so much. But well, I got to noticing they was hitting them smaller ones for some reason. They would not hit that bigger one. And I didn't mark a school of fish, none. I just threw out there, slow rolling that A-rig, and then hit it. Well, I didn't mark a school of fish, so I knew I wasn't going to double up. I knew I had to run and gun and find the fish here, find the fish there. I don't know why they wasn't grouped up. I found 2 schools of shad, one on my graph, and then I found one literally while I was undoing my line, getting ready to change the line. I just looked off to a bank like that, and I said, Josh, look at that school of shad. It wasn't many of them. I mean, it may have been that many. They was grouped up like that, and they was swimming on basically the top of the water. And it kind of freaked me out, because I'm just like, this water temp, how this water is, how in the world are they swimming on top? Well, Josh said, I'm putting on buzz bait. I'm just like, buddy, you ain't gonna catch nothing on that. He made like 3 casts with it, and he said, you're right, I ain't gonna catch nothing. Well, he threw a rock crawler. He caught his first and only fish on a rock crawler. He threw a bandito bug, 2 different colors, and I think he threw a jig. He had a jerk bait tied on, he didn't even throw it. But they was definitely on the reaction bite and stuff like that. So I had fun, he had fun. Although I lost at rod and reel, it's no big deal. I'm not sweating it. It happens. But we did catch a few. It wasn't nothing like me or him expected. I figured either we was going to kill them, have a big bag of fish, or it'd be tough and we wouldn't hardly get a bite. So when he caught that first one, I threw out in front of where he caught that, and while he was taking it off a hook, I had that one on a turd on that Coppertrees TRD. Well, ended up we fished that spot, nothing. Well, we came out and went to one of my spots, and I literally blew right past the bank I wanted to fish. I'm just like, well, we're here, why not fish this bank? I said, I never hardly do any good, but we'll let these waves calm down some, and then we go back over to this bank. Well, ended up, I threw that rock crawler out there, and I caught that keeper. Well, no, I take that back. Before then, I had that one on the turd, and then I threw that A-rig out there, and I caught that first one on an A-rig. Well, we came out of that spot, went to my spot, I threw that rock crawler, caught that first keeper. Put him in the live well. We wasn't going to take him and eat him or nothing. We was just wanting to see what our bag would be, see if we could get where we could coal. Well, threw him in the live well. Went on down the bank, nothing. I said, well, this bank ain't doing nothing. That bank ain't going to do nothing. We made about 5 casts on the other bank, tore out of there, went to another spot that I killed them at last year. Nothing. And then I'm just like, what in the world? This side of the lake and this bank always warms up faster, because I've had so many guys tell me that. And it was warmer than previous spots we'd fished. We threw and threw and threw, fished that whole cove out, and I said, you know what, we're moving. We went to another spot of mine, and again, nothing. We just got hung up a bunch. Well, we blew out of there, and he said, hey, let's go back to my spot. We went back to his spot, fished up the docks, came back, it's a tree there, and I threw that A-rig out there, and then I hooked up with another. Well, he didn't keep. Threw him back. Well, we went to another one of my spots, and I caught one on a crankbait. He kept. Well, before then, I'm just like, we ain't gonna catch another keeper, so I threw that bass back. Well, then after I caught that second keeper, I'm just like, why am I so stupid? Well, put him in the live well. He was a bigger one. He was 2.5. Well, we figured we'd had 4, maybe 5 pound, if that. So, put him in the well. End up fish and fish and fish. I caught another little dink and I think another one. So, I think we caught 6 or 7. But I know we at least caught 5. I know we at least caught 6 actually, because I had 5 for sure, and he had that one. I'm iffy on that other I caught. I don't know if I can't remember. He can't remember. We caught 6 or 7 fish, A-rig, crankbait. That was it. They wouldn't have spinnerbait or anything like that. So after I lost my A-rig setup, I threw that spinnerbait, and that's what I kept in my hand, spinnerbait and the crankbait. And we didn't catch another fish. So, if y'all want to try to get that rod and reel out, I'll tell you exactly where it is, and you can have it. I don't want it. You put in at Craig's Creek. You, instead of going left toward the main lake, you go right like you're going to Sam's Branch. You skip this cove, you skip that cove. It should be in your third or fourth cove. And it's not on the bank, it's not out deep. I looked on my graph, I think I seen it, but I couldn't hook it. So, it's about 12 to 20 foot off the bank. So, if you all go, hook it, you know it was mine. So, you got one of my setups. But, that's all I got for y'all. I was just wanting to give you a recap. I know I posted it about me fishing. You was seeing me fishing, what I caught it on, and a release. So I want to go more in depth on what I was using, how I was retrieving it, slow rolling, honestly, the line, the rod, the reel. My rod and reels is about going to stay the same. I am going to get me another A-rig set up whenever I do get the money and stuff like that. But my first priority right now is getting that boat fixed where me and Dad can go. Water pump ain't gonna be that much, maybe $20-$40, something like that. Me and him's gonna put it in ourselves, so we ain't gonna have no labor or anything. But thank y'all for watching this as an update in my life and on fishing and stuff. But thank y'all for watching this. Y'all be sure to take care and y'all be sure to have a good day.